How you doing, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the MSRP Whiskey Room. If you're a subscriber, welcome back. If this is your first time here, you're looking for the latest in whiskey and bourbon news and reviews, you have come to the right channel, so please think about hitting that subscribe button and hitting that bell notification so you know when a new video is coming out. So today we have a really fun episode inspired by one of my most well-known, one of my favorite guys in the whiskey world, which is Fred Minnick. A couple weeks ago, he wrote an article in Forbes magazine talking about how bourbons like Weller, Stag, and even some of the Four Roses limited edition small batchers are pretty much now lottery picks at state liquor stores, and even Elijah Craig is on allocation in some areas. Just basically the frustration nowadays in finding some of our favorite bourbons. Now, I posted a video recently naming my top 5 go-to and available bourbons. I'll leave the link right here for you guys to check that one out if you haven't seen it yet. But Fred Minnick reached out to his own listeners on the Bourbon Pursuit podcast and asked them, what are your go-to everyday sippers? He had no guidelines other than that these bottles have to be available. Some may be harder to find than others, but you should be able to find them at a decent price. So at first, his initial feedback was what he expected. Popular bottles such as Henry McKenna 10-year-old, Russels Reserve 10-year-old, and Old Forester 1920. After that, he said he received a lot of suggestions that were all over the place, from bakers to even Old Elk. But 2 suggestions generally intrigued him, and that was the jackdanielsbarrelproof and the new oldezra 7-year-old barrel strength. He tossed all 5 into a blind tasting to see what would come out on top, and it ended up being with the new oldezra coming out on top. Since I have all these choices, plus a sample of the new oldezra, I figured let's find out what comes out on top for me and get a sense of how good this new oldezra 7-year barrel-proof is. So let's meet the contenders. First up is Russels Reserve Single Barrel Kentucky Straight Bourbon, which uses the classic wild turkey mash bill of 75% corn, 13% rye, and 12% malted barley, and is matured in those heavy alligator new char American oak barrels before being hand selected by master distillers Jimmy and Eddie Russell. Each honey barrel is then bottled at a hearty 110 proof, and the whiskey avoids chill filtration in order to preserve maximum flavor. Next up is the Old Forester 1920 Prohibition style. Old Forester is one of the 10 legal distilleries operating during U.S. Prohibition. Launched in 2016, this 3rd release in the Whiskey Row series was created in resemblance to what Old Forester would have tasted like during Prohibition. It is bottled at 57.5% ABV and has become a huge favorite among bourbon enthusiasts. Next up, we have the Jack Daniels Single Barrel Barrel Strength Tennessee Whiskey. As the name suggests, this product is the result of a single barrel of Tennessee whiskey bottled at barrel strength, which will vary. The mash bill is the same for standard Jack Daniels, 80% corn, 12% malted barley, and 8% rye. Each bottle is labeled with the individual rickhouse and bottling date, and this bottle has become a huge favorite among Jack Daniels connoisseurs. Next up is the ever popular Henry McKenna Single Barrel 10-year Bottled in Bond Bourbon. This bourbon comes in with the same mash bill as many other Heaven Hill brands at 75% corn, 13% rye, and 12% malted barley. This bourbon is considered one of the best values on the market, coming in at around $30. It tends to range in price nowadays after it just won the San Francisco Bourbon of the Year, actually picked by Fred Minnick. And lastly, we have the oldezra Barrel Strength 7-year Bourbon. Now, Luxco, the company behind brands such as Rebel Yell, Ezra Brooks, and Blood Oath, among others, has released this Kentucky Straight Bourbon, aged 7 years, and is bottled at a barrel proof of 117 proof. Oldezra Barrel Strength Bourbon 7-year just came out this fall of 2018, and I want to give a big thanks to Monica Willits, who's one of my subscribers, for providing this sample. Thanks, Monica. All right, guys, so now that we got a closer look at the contenders, what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave a link down to Fred Minnick's article in Forbes magazine down in the description of the video if you want to check it out. Now remember, in this shootout for him, the new oldezra 7-year barrel-proof bourbon came out on top. Now I've never tasted it before, so I have no idea where it is in here. So my buddy of mine that's still hanging out, he came down here, he poured all these whiskeys blind, he put a sticker on each bottom with a letter that corresponds to a specific bourbon, and then he put the key in here. So I don't know what's in any of these glasses, which is pretty cool. I'm just numbering 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What I'm going to do is nose them all first, see what I got on the nose of each one, and then we're going to start tasting and see which one comes out on top. So let's get started. All right, guys, here we go. Bourbon number 1. Here we go. Super sweet on the nose. Has a really nice, super like cream, buttery corn. Creamy vanilla, caramel there. There's a nice little hint of cherry, maybe a little hint of chocolate in there too. Really nice, well-rounded nose. It's got some proof to it. I mean, all these pretty much do have a good amount of proof, as we found out. So, really good. That has a really good nose. All right, let's go into number 2. Wow, this is much more tame on the nose, a little bit more laid back. This has more of a kind of a backseat sweetness to it. It's definitely a little bit more. There's not a lot of super sweetness to it. It's a little bit more wood forward. It's definitely not as strong as A. There is a lot of sweetness in there. I'm not getting a whole lot on the barrel char to it at all. There is a citrus note in there too, as I really stick my nose in. Yeah, now I'm getting a little bit of a black licorice note there on the nose too, if you really smell it. Yeah, black licorice, caramel, some creamy vanilla. Not too much wood on the nose. All right, but pretty good. All right, let's go to number 3. Wow, this is spicy on the nose. Way more of a spice kick. That has a really nice balance to it. It's pretty astringent on the nose. I'm getting a lot of alcohol in this. Now, keep in mind, my buddy poured these about maybe 20, 30 minutes ago. So they've been sitting out and opening up a little bit. Very good nose. Now the sweetness is starting to get past the alcohol a little bit. Definitely a little bit of cherry in there. Definitely some wood notes, some nice sweet oak. This one also has a nice balance, but this one that's coming through is a little bit more astringent than getting the other sweet and wood notes in it. Let's go to number 4. Wow, this one is coming in like a more peanut buttery type nose to it. It's like peanut butter, and it's got a lot of wood character to it. Really good on the nose. It's reminding me of a Knob Creek type nose, but I know it's not in here, so really good. Definitely some caramel, some oak, but you're getting a really nice. There's a really potent peanut flavor in there. All right, good nose on that one. All right, let's go into number 5. Wow, this one's coming in really hot too on the nose. Woo, I think I stuck my nose too far in there. Really good. This is coming in now with more of a cherry kick to it. Maybe some more caramel and oak, maybe like a creme brulee flavor. Really nice. It's deep, it's dark, really getting some nice flavors on this. Really nice wood balance on this too. Really good noses. All 5 of them have really good noses. I would say letter or number 1, not sure what letter it is, but number 1 so far I think had the best nose for me. This one was probably a close second, followed by 3, 4, and then I think 5 had kind of the faintest nose here. Yeah, this one, number 2. All right, guys, now it's time to taste these. So here we go. Number 1. Ooh. Wow, that is super, super strong. Wow. That has a ton of flavor in it. My goodness. That is hitting me with, wow, all sorts of caramel, oak. There's a nuttiness to that in there. That is giving me a long Kentucky hug. I mean, a lot of these are high proof, but that one is really coming through. It actually really kind of looks like the darkest one out of all of them too. But there is a flavor in this first one that I'm thinking it could be the Jack Daniels. Jack Daniels to me always has a very potent banana flavor to it. And that's what I'm kind of getting on this one. So I don't know if it is, but I have a feeling that could be the Jack Daniels. But it's actually really delicious. I'm gonna go in for another sip here. Yeah, a lot of corn sweetness, some maple sugars, brown sugars, I mean, maple syrup. You're getting that little hint of banana on the end. That's really good. Really good stuff. All right, I'm just writing some notes here. All right, now I'm gonna take a sip of water here. All right, let's go in on number 2. Wow. Well, that one has a nice balance to it. That one comes in with a lot of corn sweetness. Then it kind of mellows out. You get a really nice vanilla coating there. Then it's finishing with a really nice wood spice to it. Getting a little bit of a rye kick on the end there. That's good. I'm going for one more sip. Yeah, that is just pure buttered popcorn, caramel drizzled buttered popcorn in a glass. Really good. It's got a nice long finish. A lot of these will with the high proofs. That's really good. That's super, super corn sweet. There's not a lot of balance on that one though. It's coming in with a lot of sweetness. You're getting that caramel. You're getting more alcohol, more of a little bit of a rye kick than some of that sweet oak that you get on the end. But very good bourbon. All right, time for another sip of water. All right, let's go to number 3. Oh, number 3 is coming in with a lot of cherry, a lot of cinnamon. Not a super long finish on this one. Well, maybe it's because the other two are so hot that my chest, my innards are getting a little bit used to the hotness of these. So it's really good though. This has a lot of sweetness to it. It's a little bit more fruity than the other two. This one's coming in sweet. It's got some fruit to it. Let's go in for another sip. That's nice. This one has sweet and a good amount of wood character. The tail end of it is slightly bitter, but it is really good. It's got a really nice balance of sweetness and toasted, that really nice toasted oak flavor. Really good sweetness. It's got a really nice balance. It's got a good proof too. All right, another drink of water. All right, let's go to number 4. Wow, number 4 is coming in with a really powerful candied licorice flavor. That's really interesting. And usually I get that on a rye, and none of these are ryes. That's crazy. I'm gonna go for another sip. This is the one that had that peanut buttery nose, and I'm getting that a little bit on the palate too. It's really nutty, really good finish on it. But the finish I'm getting, the flavor is just, it's not something I'm really used to with bourbon. It's coming in more of a licorice flavor for me. Not so much that nice kind of wood balance. It's kind of finishing like a rye a little bit. It's really interesting. It's good. I love the front and mid. It's just the finish is kind of a little bit off for me. But pretty good bourbon. All right, let's go for another glass of water. All right, guys, last one, number 5. Let's go in. Here we go. That's good. That's cherry chocolate cordials. That's caramel. That's oak that has a really good finish. Very well-rounded bourbon there. That's good. That's hitting all the notes I really like. Let me go in for another sip of this one. Let's go. Yeah, this one has a really nice balance to it. This one's coming in with that corn sweetness, caramel, a little bit of a creme brulee, creamy vanilla flavor, a lot of vanilla there. Then it's kind of finishing with a nice little cherry kick, spice, nice wood flavor, really good. All right, so I'm gonna take one more glass of water here and I'm gonna shoot through them really quick one more time. All right, guys, so let's go through them all one more time quickly and then we'll reveal who came out on top for me. Let's go. Number 1. Yeah, this one is deep, dark sugars, deep, dark caramels, a lot of maple in there. Definitely getting that little hint of banana, which is making me think what I think it is, if that makes any sense. Yeah, but really delicious, really nice finish. It's long, it's sweet, really good. That's a really good bourbon. All right, or is it a Tennessee whiskey? We'll find out. All right, number 2. Number 2 has a lot of really good corn sweetness to it. And like I said, the corn sweetness kind of takes you through. It's just that the finish on it is not finishing with a really nice spice. It's really, really, really sweet. I mean, it's good, but it's a really sweet bourbon. A little bit of wood there on the end. A little bit of oak, but mostly pretty sweet. So let me make my notes here. All right, let's go into number 3. Yeah, number 3 has definitely a little bit more of a nice balance to it. Definitely more sweet, more fruity. It's got a little bit more of rounded flavors here. You're getting some sweet, you're getting some corn, but you're getting some nice cherry and a little hint of citrus in there as well. Really nice, kind of finishing really well too. Really good. All right, let's go to number 4. Number 4 is the kind of the peanutty one that I'm getting. It's more of a peanutty flavor to me. Definitely finishing off a little bit with that wood, but it is a slightly bitter on the end. But you are getting a good balances there. It's sweet all the way through. You're getting some toasted oak in there. Just, I guess at some points it's just hitting me a little bit bitter on the end there. But really good. The upfront sweetness and the nuttiness is really coming through, and I really like that about that one. So that's really good too. All right, let's try the last one. Yeah, this one to me is really hitting all the things I love. It's spicy, it's sweet, it's got a great proof on it, really good balance. That's really good. All right, guys, so what I'm gonna do is I am going to write my notes, I'm gonna rate these, and then we'll be right back. All right, guys, well, I hope you're excited as I am. I am really excited to find out who came out on top in this recreation of the Fred Minnick top available bourbons that he got the input from his listeners and viewers. So let's see what came out on top for me personally. So I had in 5th place number 4. So number 4 had a really great flavor to it, but the only thing that it had that kind of killed it for me was that bitterness on the end. So that was letter B. And letter B is Henry McKenna. Wow, I love Henry McKenna. man, I'm wondering if the fact that it was maybe, you know, kind of a little bit more than halfway down the bottle, maybe that affected it a little bit. But I've obviously been sipping on this bottle, so I like it. But in this flight, it just really didn't do it for me, unfortunately, compared to the others. So Henry McKenna is number 5. Let's go to our 4th place bourbon, which is number 2. Number 2 is letter E, and letter E is the Old Ezra 7-year barrel strength bourbon. Wow, really interesting. This was a really good pour. The only thing it didn't have for me, it didn't have enough of a balance for me. This was really starting out really nice and sweet, coming through. You got a lot of alcohol, a really good finish on it, but it just didn't really offer that really nice sweet wood and oak note that I like on the end of my bourbons. But really good up front. If you really like good, sweet, strong bourbons, and you're really gonna love the Old Ezra. Came in 4th place for me. So let's go to number 3, which came in 3rd actually, which was number 3. Let's go to it, and it is letter A. Letter A is the Old Forester 1920. Wow, that's crazy. I really love the 1920. This is still my favorite in the Whiskey Row series. The 1910 is really, really good, super sweet, but I just feel like the 1920 really packs the punch with the alcohol, and the just has an amazing balance. I love Old Forester, always one of my go-to top bourbons, so love it. Let's go to my 2nd place, then we'll find out what my 1st place is. So in 2nd, I picked number 1 right here, which I thought was a Jack Daniels, which is still left. So let's see. That is letter D. And letter D is Jack Daniels Barrel Proof, which means my number 1 first place pick is letter C, which, as you guys know now, is the Russels Reserve Single Barrel Bourbon. Wow. So just to do a quick kind of quick review of the Jack Daniels. This Jack Daniels Tennessee Whiskey Barrel Proof Single Barrel Bourbon is absolutely delicious. This comes in with a really, really high proof. You're getting those classic Tennessee whiskey notes, that maple, the oak, that sweetness, the super corn, that it's almost like a maple syrup coming through. And then you're getting that really nice proof. There is a hint of that banana flavor, which is why I kind of picked out. I really thought that was the Jack Daniels Tennessee Whiskey. But really good dram. If you're a huge fan of Jack Daniels, then the Single Barrel Proof Bourbon is definitely a good pickup for you. But number 1, as we found out, is right here, guys. It is the Russels Reserve from Wild Turkey. This one seems to always come out on top whenever I taste test it against stuff. It's always kind of the stalwart in any lineup that I do. I really love it. It's a great bourbon, and in this flight it came out on top for me. So cheers to Russels Reserve. All right, guys, thanks again for dropping by, watching this fun episode of the Mashanddrum Whiskey Room. Doing this flight was really challenging. All 5 of these whiskeys bring a lot of different flavor profiles to the table. And if you haven't had any of these, I would highly recommend going out and trying any of these 5 bourbons. They're really, really good. Thanks again to Monica Willits for providing the sample of the Old Ezra 7-year. Really appreciate it. Thank you so much. If you haven't subscribed yet, please hit the subscribe button. Really appreciate it. Hit that like button. You could also find me on Instagram, and you could also find me on Twitter. Love interacting with you guys. If you have had any of these, or if you happen to actually do this flight yourself, let me know what comes out on top. I'm really curious. And with that, as I always say, it's not about the whiskey, it is the people you share it with. So cheers, everyone, and I will see you again soon. Take care.